We come to the next milestone in the life of Moses. Remember, we're continuing on in Hebrews chapter 11, and we've reached verse 28. By faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch them. And of course, we know, when we're familiar with the story of the Passover, God told Moses to sprinkle blood on the doorposts. Moses believed God's word, heeded his warning, and as a result of the firstborn of every Israelite family was saved. These instructions here in Exodus chapter 12, verse 1, And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, This month shall be a beginning of months for you. It is to be the first month of the year to you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th of this month they have to each one take a lamb for themselves, according to their father's household, a lamb for each household. Verse 5, Your lamb shall be an unblemished male of a year old. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel is to kill it at twilight. Verse 7, Moreover, they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts, and on the lintel of the houses in which they eat. They shall eat the flesh that same night, roasted with fire. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled at all with water, but rather roasted with fire, both its head and its legs, along with its entrails. You shall not leave any of it over until the morning. Whatever is left until the morning you shall burn with fire. Then we get further instructions. Then, of course, the Egyptians who didn't believe in God ignored that. Verse 28, And the sons of Israel went and did so, just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. And then, of course, we get the implications of the death of the firstborn. Verse 29, That came about at midnight. The Lord struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. Pharaoh arose in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was no home where there was not someone dead. Then he called for Moses and Aaron at night and said, Rise up, get out from among my people, both you and the sons of Israel, and go, worship the Lord as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds as you have said, go and bless me also. Verse 33, The Egyptians urged the people to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, We will all be dead. In Hebrews chapter 11, we read that by faith he kept the Passover. You see, there was no faith in the Egyptians. They ignored God's word, but God had come to Moses and gave him specific instructions, take a lamb, and then they were to keep it, then they were to shed the blood, cut it at twilight, and then put the blood on the doorposts, and then the angel, of course, would pass over, but they would not be destroyed. And this was all done by faith. And Hebrews 11 says, Lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch them. Here we see that Moses did the unusual, tried to picture what this man did. Act as if there had never been a Passover, because when he did, there never had been. In previous chapters, Moses returned to Pharaoh time after time, saying, Let my people go, let my people go, but the king steadfastly refused. Finally, God said to Moses, I'm going to bring death to them. Then Pharaoh will let the people go. I will strike every home with death except one special group of homes. And of course, those special group of homes were the Israelite homes, but they would need to be delivered by the blood of the lamb. There was a slain lamb, the blood on the doorposts, the meal eaten in hurry, with sandals strapped on, the walking stick in hand. These were all brand new directions for Moses and the Israelites. They had never done it before. Moses, God said, make sure you have your staff in your hand, your cloak under your belt, and sandals on. We're ready to run. because I am sending death across that land, and you're going to hear the screams of the grief from one end of Egypt to the other. But if you put blood on your doorposts, I'll pass over you." The screaming started. It began in Memphis and swept all the way up to the valley toward the land of Goshen. You never heard such screaming, kids dying like flies, and here in this little Hebrew couple standing there with a staff and a cloak and sandals, munching on roasted lamb about to make an exodus. What an unusual thing. And remember, Moses had no tradition to fall back on. How could he do it? How could he keep that first Passover exactly as God instructed him to do? He did it in the same way that Noah could pound pegs into the ark when there had never been rain. He could do it in the same way that Abraham and Sarah could look for a city whose foundation, whose builder and maker was God, when they had never been in the land of Canaan. He could do it simply because God said, "Do it." And he did it by faith. Hebrews 11, verse 28. Thank you for listening.